I would start now. I want to welcome everyone once again to the Omics Research Symposium that is starting today and also tomorrow. And so today we are looking at the changing role of bioinformatics in research, industry, and education. And my single honor this afternoon is to speak to us about OmicsLogic training in Africa and share a 12-month findings report. All right. So once again, I welcome us all on board to this rich symposium. My name is Adelowoye. I'm a faculty with Leeds City University here in Nigeria, and also an associate of the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria. Similarly, I'm a mentor and facilitator with Biotech Incorporated USA. I'm privileged to also double as the program director of the OmicsLogic Africa program in partnership with Eureka. And so in this section, I will be sharing with us all the increasing role of bioinformatics and data science in biological research, with the effort to present the impact of OmicsLogic bioinformatics training in closing the gaps for resource-limited settings. And so I'm looking at the 12-month performance report from inception. I'm privileged to co-author this report with my other members of the team, which I want to acknowledge: Mr. Sani, Hamza, and Dr. Nzelu, Dr. Aborishaditayo, Mr. Lebetutu, Oladejo, and Damlola Shiwinka. All right, so simply put, we want to look at the 12 months performance of these, training here in Africa. It is no longer news that the completion of the Human Genome Project in year 2003 has ushered in a new era in genomics and its application across scientific fields. So what's interesting to know today is how computational tools are increasingly being relevant, in dealing with large and complex biological data sets for requisite analysis and also interpretation to provide us with, meaningful application that across several aspects of human life endeavor. Okay. And so scientific updating methods and mechanisms, actually ushered in by the next generation sequencing and related technologies, together with bioinformatic tools for computational and analysis of captured biological data sets, has been a major driver of the scientific advancement that we see in the research, scientific research and translational application space today. Okay. And though the African continent is regarded as the cradle of modern humans, and also the African genomes, being discovered to contain more genetic variation than those from any other continent, yet only a fraction of these genetic diversity among African individuals has been studied to date. Okay, this is in large partly due to the gaps in capacity in terms of appropriate expertise and training. And this is besides the primary challenges of infrastructure, which of course is beginning to change, especially following the COVID-19 pandemic. And I'd like to cite an example for Nigeria as an example. Pre-COVID-19, we have, I think, just about 2 or 3 molecular diagnostic laboratories in the country. But I'm proud to say that, into the COVID-19 and, to date, we now have close to 60 molecular laboratories. So these are some of the silver lining that the COVID-19 actually, presents. So one of such gaps, however, that needs to be closed is building the capacity that is needed for bioinformatics and computational analysis key sets to utilize the huge biological data that is generated today. Okay, and then I'd like us to look at, bioinformatics as an essential driver, as I mentioned earlier on. The need for analysis of emerging genomic sequence data and the completion of Human Genome Project, back in 2003, as I earlier mentioned, of course, has resulted in a landmark achievement for bioinformatics, as bioinformatics has become an indispensable tool for management of the hugely generated data in modern biology, in medicine, and other scientific related fields. However, in contrast to other regions of the world, there exist gaps in resource-limited settings such as Africa and Nigeria in particular when it comes to harnessing the interdisciplinary field of bioinformatics to attain its full potential for application in medicine, in population studies, in agricultural science, biotechnology, among others. So this tells us, the need to mainstream bioinformatics into most of our research studies and training institutions across the continent. So what are the key drawbacks to bioinformatics, in Africa? I'd like to point out, one is the lack of vibrant and dynamic bioinformatics community. According to a published report by Thank God et al. In 2019, one drawback is that many African countries, Nigeria inclusive, lacks the bioinformatics community vibrancy and dynamism as compared to other parts of the globe. And this is due to limited convening of these community populations of bioinformaticians. Similarly, there is also a lack of bioinformatics expertise, this key set and training, which is why these symposium we are here today discussing to look at bioinformatics in Africa. And I think there will be a panel section shortly after now that will look further into that to discuss how to move forward from here. Okay, so as a matter of fact, just as in many other countries of the world, of African continent, bioinformatics is here to reach its full potential, including in Nigeria. A report by Fatumo et al. In 2014, alluded to this, and also Adelowoye, in their study in 2018, mentioned the fact that bioinformatics, despite some of the advancements and I would say improvement we've seen lately in the genome science and sequencing aspect of research, there's still a huge gap when it comes to capacity building for African continent as it touches bioinformatics. All right. So I'd like to, at this point, I'd like us to look at some critical questions then that has arose from several of these works, across time and space on the issue of bioinformatics and its role in Africa. So to develop the bioinformatics and ensure that the African continent, is actually benefiting from this genomic revolution, there's need to build scientific capacity of African scientists, as already argued by several experts in the genomic science space. And so some of those critical questions includes, how do we ensure, how do we make knowledge of bioinformatics and big data analysis accessible to everyone, including those that are new to the field? All right. Another germane question is, how do we ensure a sustainable, vibrant, and dynamic bioinformatics community in Nigeria and also in other African countries, at large? And also another question I'd like us to look into is, how do we bring the bioinformatics community together and, through that, drive scientific collaborations and breakthroughs using these, innovative computational analysis and skills. All right. So that would take me to, look straight off into what we have been doing in, with OmicsLogic Africa, in terms of bioinformatics training tools and resources that we have provided over the course of the past 12 months. Okay, these need gaps, as informed by those questions earlier raised, we have identified in OmicsLogic Africa and Eureka, and we are inventively exploring closing those gaps with the OmicsLogic sets of bioinformatics and big data analysis training programs. Okay, thankfully this is brought to be by Biotech Incorporated USA, the focus of which is to build capacity among students, young professionals, researchers, and faculties across the African continent. Our postulation at Eureka and OmicsLogic Africa is actually that by increasing, by increasingly advancing the knowledge of bioinformatics and its use in obtaining scientific insights from these sequence data, there will be a significant growth and development of the bioinformatics community in Africa And also, there will be a considerable implications for, translational science from understanding gene functions, as well as its role in biology and medicine for addressing the challenges that are peculiar to the population within the African continent. And so the OmicsLogic goal by which the OmicsLogic Africa is guided includes, one, to provide training in bioinformatics, as well as enabling independent research guided by mentors and peer examples. We also are looking at working with the goal of developing a growing community with a shared passion for data-driven research and appreciation of citizen science. And likewise, the third goal is to enable students, clinicians, faculty of all backgrounds to develop novel and independent research using latest technology in life and data sciences. And over the course of the past 12 months, OmicsLogic programs, attempted to, introduce participants to big data and NGS bioinformatics training, which is designed for everyone interested to learn and apply data science key sets on biological data set. And so the OmicsLogic programs actually boast of everything a participant needs to get started and grow in bioinformatics and big data analysis space for scientific research and practice. I would want to quickly, show to us some of the, programs we've conducted in the past 12 months in line with our goal. Over the course of the last 11 to 12 months, we've experimented with the idea of bringing bioinformatics training with project and guided learning and resources to a cross-section of participants that ranges from beginners and students, many of whom are new to bioinformatics, to postgraduates, researchers, and faculties wanting to also develop skill sets and research capacity in order to explore the world of omics sciences using bioinformatics and big data analysis knowledge and tools. Okay, and so some of the high impact training programs conducted over the course of the last 1 year includes bioinformatics for genomic medicine. These are some of the things we focused on during that program. How can bioinformatics help us diagnose and treat infectious diseases? We focus on the SARS-CoV-2 outbreak. We looked at, genomic medicine in the era of COVID-19, among other things. And also, we also went into some trainings that included basic OmicsLogic training, as well as OmicsLogic metagenomics and data science for biologists. These are programs we've organized in the past few months, which I will be sharing the report, with us shortly. Equally, we were able to also look at introduction to bioinformatics for, a cross-section of participants, which includes both students, professionals, as well as postgraduates and faculties, like I mentioned. And we also recently concluded bioinformatics and computational biology, as part of the program so far. This is besides, some other programs that we have our participants, joining the global report. And so I'd like to share here some of the results we've seen, with OmicsLogic training in Africa, during the past, months. While the total registered, interest in OmicsLogic Africa programs to date stands at 2,298. Results from our program shows an average of about 175 participation in our free bioinformatics webinar. All right. Of course, the lowest attendance was 56, and we have in a single session where we had up to 317 participants joining one of our free webinars. All right, and a total of 280 participants, with 61% of them, averagely 62% being male and 38% female participant has participated in our in the 9 cohorts I initially mentioned to us of the various programs we have conducted. And in each cohort, we have an average of about 31 participants, attending. I'm glad to also mention that over the course of these trainings, and we've also given back to the community to develop the community. We've awarded about a total of 26, scholarship, representing 9.3% of the whole participant we have over the course of these trainings. All right, and out of these, we are glad to share that it's on a 50-50% percentage across the gender. All right, both male and female, and we've equally offered seven full scholarship to enable participants have this knowledge of bioinformatics, and thanks to the Biotech Incorporation for those scholarships. And noteworthy is, like I mentioned, 50% gender parity among the scholarship that has been offered. While 92.8% of total participants are from Nigeria, we've also seen participants from other African countries, including Ghana, Egypt, Sudan, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, and Republic of Benin. Okay, and South Africa inclusive. And we've had a lot of interest from the 2,298 number I mentioned earlier on, coming from the northern part of the continent. However, there are certain challenges, particularly when it comes to being able to maybe pay their way into some of those trainings, and that is due to some of the economic policies in those countries. However, moving forward, we are actively researching into how we can mitigate and ensure most of those participants from that part of the continent benefit richly from our program. All right, and so it is pertinent to know that most of the interest we've been getting for our programs comes from the undergraduate students, with 53.6% thereabout, indicating that they are interested in these OmicsLogic training, in the bioinformatics training. However, what we've discovered is most times postgraduate students and university faculties, which represent 22.2% and 24.2% interest respectively, gets to be the one that eventually converts to join the program. So meaning we have about 67.5% in total of our cohort, cohort participant that has been trained in the course of this past 11 months being postgraduate students. This is due to the fact that they find this training very applicable to their research and ongoing studies in their various universities. However, like I mentioned, we have a number of undergraduate students participating in these trainings, and equally we have faculties as well joining some of these. In fact, in each of the trainings we have faculties joining. We can see the distribution here on the slide. Apologies for this graph; it's too, seems quite small. All right. So I'd like to quickly then share some of the reviews we've gotten from previous participants, participating in our program. Here is Odinaka Kingsley Obeta. He's a medical laboratory scientist and to state here in Nigeria. He says, it's my first time learning bioinformatics and I enjoyed the course a lot. Looking forward to more opportunities to learn more. Also, we have Adekunle, who is a microbiologist from Ogun State here in Nigeria. She said everything was new to me. Of course, many of them, and this is a key takeaway I like to bring here. Many of the participants are new to this. Some of them going through already, having concluded their BSc or even in their postgraduate studies, have little or no opportunity to be exposed to bioinformatics, and the omics sciences generally. All right, so she said everything was new to me. However, it was easy to understand. That is one key thing that OmicsLogic programs boast of, ability to make these things really simple and accessible to our participants. All right, few other reviews. This is Kashim from the northern part of Nigeria, saying next generation sequencing was totally new to me. In this coursework, we were excited to learn by following the syllabus. I got to understand the principles behind molecular medicine and the future of modern medicine as a whole. And last but not the least, of course, many of these reviews came from Nigerian participants. Like I said, 92.8% of our participants so far come from this, from Nigeria. So it was a great opportunity to gain an experience I'm glad to have. I gathered some information that the amount I paid for the program isn't commensurate to. It was an eye-opening period. I would be glad to recommend my friends to experience. Continue the good work. So with these, as efforts continues to contribute to building capacity of prospective participants across the African continent, we like to also share about our next training program this in September on bioinformatics for biomedical drug discovery. And so for questions and inquiries, please, I would appreciate you drop us, you reach out through the chat. Okay, so in conclusion, I like to say that just as the generation of biological data has witnessed significant growth, interpretation of the process data now presents a challenge to one and all, okay, because it requires multiple steps, bioinformatics tools, and humanity that is required to generate a final results from the raw data that are being generated. And so, in conclusion, why the growing interest in bioinformatics, is growing across the continent, only about 10% of our participants, that is, of the intending participant rather, being able to actually join the training according to our reports. Majority of the trained participants, majority of the participants would need to be provided access, to be able to come in and learn as they actually desired. And so far, like we showed from our report, majority of the trained participants have been postgraduate students or professionals so far. We are, however, convinced that, with university partners on hands-on, mentor-driven, and globally proven training methods and resources into the undergraduate trainings in universities across, the continent, as a complementary training to whatever they have in-house for their life sciences students and all others who are interested, there will be a significant participation from our undergraduate students, and that will actually be representing, an opportunity to actually develop the community and have, the participant gain the requisite bioinformatics skills, thus scaling the growth and capacity of bioinformatics community within the African continent. I would want to stop there now to welcome questions from us. Thank you for listening. All right. Can you hear me, please? Hello? Hello there, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, Adekunle, we can hear you.
Oh, great, thank you. So I would want to, I don't know if Mr. Yonfe is in the house to anchor the question and the QA session. However, I'm available to take one or two questions or comments from us before we move into the next session.
There are some questions, Adekunle. The first one is, it is great to hear from you. I have gone through several articles and research modules specifically to know how bioinformatics work is in specifying enzyme characters and their activities, though it gives a huge platform to solve almost many cases in modern biology, but still, what are the major fields which are still to be improvised in bioinformatics and computational biology to track drug ingredients and metabolic pathways? How industries can implement it better to make more use of this field and create more opportunities? Thank you.
Please kindly just summarize the last part of that question so that, okay.
I think the main question is whether you can highlight some of the ways bioinformatics can be used to understand drug metabolism and use that information to develop new treatments or potentially repurpose drugs to address pressing medical needs.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, so bioinformatics is really changing the landscape of scientific research generally, and that includes the biomedical drug discovery protocol and process. So your question is how bioinformatics and computational biology can be used to track ingredients and metabolic pathways. Yes, like I said, in fact, from recent, number of recent studies due outside of the continent that I've come across, you see, a lot of efforts going into drug repurposing, and informatics and computational tools is actually, key in central to making some of those in silico studies. And so moving forward, of course, there would be room for bioinformaticians, people with these required and requisite skills to also step up and draw up various study projects in the line, and in terms of monitoring the entire process of our drug development process. So bioinformatics is really going to play a key role. But like I said, I'm pointing out also from this study, you discover that most scientists in the continent, lacks this, capacity as it is. Do not get me wrong, we have notable scientists from the continent who are doing exploit, but of course, the gap is still, the gaps in terms of research capacity and the skill sets is still very much huge, and these are the things that informs the need for building the community of bioinformaticians across the continent. So we look forward to being able to find some of these tracking of drug ingredients and metabolic pathways in the process of development, like you said, particularly here on the continent, in the near future. And thankfully, our platform also provides a research opportunity. We have a research license for those who might want to also join, Biotech and OmicsLogic to be able to explore these opportunities.